Welcome to the fifth and final episode in a Legendarium series about England after 1066. In Part 5, The Prayers of a Dead Man, we will talk about how the Normans remade England into an apartheid society and brought down the last great native English Earl. In yet another sign of overbearing Norman power in England, King William deposed the English Archbishop of Canterbury named Stigand in 1070. Stigand's support of English rebels against Norman power was the reason, but Stigand's habit of snatching up estates made it easy for the Normans to accuse him of corruption. William appointed the Italian-born lawyer-turned-abbot of Bec, Lanfranc, in Stigand's place. As Archbishop, Lanfranc brought the English Church in line with continental practices. He imposed celibacy on the clergy, established cathedral chapters, and introduced Gregorian chants. Lanfranc also brought the continent to England. One by one, he replaced English-born clergy with men from Normandy, Brittany, and his own homeland of Italy. Just as the Normans colonized England, they colonized its church. Tens of thousands of other Normans came to England, but not to pray. Norman merchants and tradesmen established their own quarters in the major cities of England. There, the French language predominated. They had their own markets and enjoyed special status and exemptions. On the other hand, English urbanites endured crippling taxes that forced them to either enter menial professions or leave their homeland completely. England became an apartheid society in which French-speaking foreigners monopolized high offices both in the church and in the secular realm, while native-born English toiled in anonymity and often poverty. Throughout its history, England had been invaded and conquered by Romans, Saxons, and Vikings. Yet after 1066, William's French-speaking followers ruled the country. Thereafter, struggles for England would be between them. The first such struggle erupted in 1075 and brought down the last great native English Earl. William Fitzosborne, a Norman lord who took much of the English cake, died on a continental adventure in 1071. His orphaned daughter Emma later pursued Ralph de Gell, the Earl of East Anglia, and they agreed to marry in 1075. However, King William, fearful of a union between two great houses that could threaten his power, forbade the marriage. An infuriated Ralph de Gell rebelled against King William and married Emma anyway. He sought an alliance with Earl Waltheof of Northumbria, the last remaining English earl, who agreed to support Ralph's rebellion, at first. Earl Waltheof had joined the 1069 uprising against King William. When it went badly, he begged William for forgiveness. Surprisingly, the king granted it. Perhaps remembering this kindness, Waltheof soon regretted his decision to join Ralph's rebellion and hurried to tell Archbishop Lanfranc. The Archbishop moved swiftly, threatening the rebels with eternal damnation and sending Waltheof to Normandy to inform King William of the goings-on in England. Back in England, 3 warrior bishops named Odo of Bayeux, Wulfstan, later Saint Wulfstan, and Geoffrey of Montbray led peasant levies against the rebels. Montbray himself called for every rebel to have his right foot cut off. Perhaps fearing for his feet, Ralph de Gell left for the continent and put his wife Emma in charge of defending the castle. Emma proved a more capable warrior than her husband, holding Norwich Castle long enough that King William agreed to let her and her followers travel to their estates in France, though their English holdings would be forfeit to the crown. The other Norman rebels, like Emma, received varying degrees of clemency, yet the one Englishman in the rebellion did not. Judith, the wife of Earl Waltheof and niece to King William the Conqueror, denounced her husband as a traitor. King William, not surprisingly, sentenced Waltheof to death. At his execution, Waltheof knelt in prayer. The executioner chopped off his head in the middle of that prayer, and as he lifted up Waltheof's head, witnesses saw his mouth finish the prayer with the words, "But deliver us from evil. Amen." Could this have been muscle memory, a miracle, or people seeing things? In the medieval mind, there was no doubt. Waltheof's tomb became the site of pilgrimage, and even miracles said to cure the sick. That should have been enough to make Waltheof a saint, but England's Norman rulers hated the thought of a lowly Englishman being prayed to, and they controlled the English church. That wraps things up for this episode of the Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed the series. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.